Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 1976 film Eaten Alive. This is directed by Tobe Hooper and stars Neville Brand and Madeline Burns. This tells the story of a strange hotel owner who likes to slice his way through guests and feed them to his pet crocodile. So after directing the horror classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Tobe Hooper decided to visit the Deep South once again, this time Louisiana, and create this movie, Eaten Alive, otherwise known as Death Trap here in the UK. And this was actually placed on the infamous Video Nasties list. So what did I think of the follow-up film from a director who made the greatest horror movie of all time? In my opinion, high expectations, I imagine, as well, for people back in the 70s going to see this. So let's find out.
If you were one of the millions of moviegoers who were electrified by the unbearable suspense and sheer terror of Jaws, get ready for Eaten Alive.
First off, I gotta say, this is such a cool concept for a horror movie. A slasher villain who has a sidekick in the form of a crocodile. Yes, it's a crocodile, not an alligator, as Crazy Judd states in this movie, by the way. But this is a film that just screams, watch me. And who doesn't want to see that shit? And the whole look of this hotel is really cool. You can tell a mile off that this is all done on a movie set. It's not actually a real hotel location that they've used. But I think that kind of adds to the charm of it. And so many of these 70s sleazy horror movies did this, didn't they? All the pumped in mist, the downtrodden hallways, the dirty, grimy toilet that Madeline Burns has to sit on at one point in this film. You know, this is a horror hotel for sure. And they went full on cheese with it. We also have quite a simple story at hand here. Cool concept for sure, but at its heart, it is just another slasher film. People are killed one after the other. But what I will say is that Judd, the crazy hotel owner in this movie, actually wields a scythe there. So that's not a horror weapon that I usually see too often. So we got this guy wielding a scythe and has a pet crocodile that he feeds people to. I mean, Judd is going all out to be different. This movie carries a very sleazy vibe to it as well. We open in a brothel, for God's sake, and Robert Englund is actually in this movie before A Nightmare on Elm Street fame. And the first words that are uttered in this movie are him to a prostitute saying, "The name's Buck, and I'm raring to fuck." And the theme of sort of that is carried through with our hotel owner Judd attempting to rape women every 10 minutes and stuff. It's got a very 70s grindhouse feel to it. And when I said who doesn't want to see this concept of this crocodile and his owner killing people, that is definitely where the movie excels and has its high points. Because it was always fun to watch this crocodile tear people up, basically. And this thing was dangerous, man. I mean, you go near 2 meters of that little pond that it's in there, your lizard food, I mean, it basically chews the scenery of the hotel at one point. Speaking of chewing the scenery, though, I just got to say how good Robert Englund is in this film. He is this real hoodlum who just wants to piss people off, but you kind of can't take your eyes off him because he's such an arsehole, but a likeable arsehole, if you like. And when you finally see him get his comeuppance later on in the movie with this death scene involving the crocodile and stuff, it's kind of satisfying to watch, but at the same time, you're going to kind of miss him because he was the brightest character in the entire movie, and he's showcasing his early talents here, and it's no wonder he went on to become one of horror's biggest icons. I do have a bit of a mixed thought as well here. You can tell a mile off that this crocodile is a prosthetic crocodile. And that might put a few people off. However, for me, like the hotel, it kind of adds to the charm of the movie. It's not the biggest budget or anything, and I was willing to excuse that, but beware. It may kind of look fake and dated nowadays, but I was willing to look past that, mainly because I grew up on these types of films as well. However, for all the good this movie brings, it brings equally as much bad as well. Unfortunately, there are a few glaring problems with this movie. The biggest one probably being Judd. Now, he is the hotel owner, and he had the potential to be such a cool and memorable villain. but the guy is just way too strange for me, and he just frustrated me watching him throughout the movie because he goes on these long rants just talking to himself, waffling crap, and I was just like, what is this guy going on about? He just isn't a likable character, and that is such a shame for such a cool concept of a movie, to have this awesome slasher villain who owns this hotel and pet crocodile to be so forgettable. Plus, most of the dialogue in this film just can't be made out because there's this constant radio just playing throughout the movie in the hotel lobby, and it's kind of hard to make out what people are saying. I don't know why Toby Hooper thought that was a good idea at all. Now, there is a scene where this crocodile gets hold of a family dog, and it's kind of upsetting to see the dog die in movies, of course, and I have to just keep telling myself it's only a movie. However, that aside, straight after that scene, there is a long 5 to 10 minute scene where nothing happens, and it's just basically filming this family in this hotel room, going around the hotel, and nothing is happening. It is just pure runtime filler. And I was just thinking, is Toby Hooper trying to be effective here or something? I mean, is this dated? Am I just not seeing something here? But I was just watching it going, when are we going to move on with this story? And that family I mentioned does have Madeline Burns in there, and boy can she scream. I'll recognise that scream from anywhere. And thankfully she does, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, put in a good performance here. But my God, man, her husband in this movie is even more stranger than Judd. I was just watching this guy. He was so bizarre, and he just did not make sense to what was going on in the film. He's kind of just sitting there doing all these weird hand movements, like doing all this with his hand, looking at his hand and freaking out and just blabbering nonsense. And I was just like Judd, who was frustrating me when he was waffling. He was doing the exact same, possibly worse. I just hated this guy, and it doesn't help when characters in your movie are grinding your gears, and this guy definitely did. I have noticed that when I watch a lot of movies from this era that I kind of didn't watch back in the day, they do have strange characters or dialogue from time to time that may seem dated or strange to say, but sometimes it can work because you're kind of in that vibe with the movie when it was made. But on this occasion, it just frustrated the hell out of me, and it was just a messy bunch of conversations and a lot of characters just basically talking gibberish. There is a side storyline thrown in there as well, where this guy turns up with his daughter who is looking for his other daughter. And I thought, oh, what, they're going to try a little side story going on here. And I appreciate that, but at the end of the day, it basically was just there for this guy to be turned into crocodile food. It didn't really have anything that added or expanded upon the story. It was just a failed attempt, really, and one that I didn't see any point in. Don't get me wrong, there is fun to be had with this film, but for as much positivity, there is as much negativity, and it doesn't exactly live up to Toby Hooper's film beforehand, which is a massively high bar anyway. I mean, I didn't expect it to be anywhere near as good, but for a guy who made such a great movie, I mean, this was a real come down compared to that. And it's a shame that, he couldn't do anything probably even half as good as that one, let's be honest. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give Eaten Alive a 5 out of 10. Now, Eaten Alive lovers, please don't be mad at me, but I do actually feel that this is a movie that could benefit from a remake, because this actually does feel a little bit dated, and it's a shame because this is such a cool concept, and with the right execution, it could make a pretty awesome slasher film. Okay, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Eaten Alive is that this was actually based on a story about a guy called Joe Ball who owned this bar and had a alligator attraction there. And the rumor was that all these women were going missing were actually being fed to his pet alligator. And before he was about to be arrested, he actually killed himself. And that's where the story of Eaten Alive came about. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this review. Please let me know what your thoughts on Eaten Alive and Toby Hooper as a director in general, and I'll try and get back to you all in the comments, I promise. If this is your sort of thing, please subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. Take care, and I'll see you all on the next video.